This is Gemara in Kiddushin Daf Lamed Ches, and we pick it up on the bottom of Lamed Zayin Amid Beis, approximately 7 lines from the bottom. First one on the line is Bizman Deleka Pesach. Continues the Gemara. We said yesterday that there's 2 types of mitzvahs. Is mitzvahs ha'nehagos ba'aretz and mitzvahs she'eino nehagos ba'aretz. The Gemara concluded that the difference between these 2 mitzvahs are whether it is a mitzvah of land versus a mitzvah of guf. Mitzvah of guf, a chayvis ha'guf, is noig in Eretz Yisrael and outside. A mitzvah of land, of karka, is only noig in Eretz Yisrael. And the way we knew that was the pasuk spoke about bia, about coming into Eretz Yisrael. That's when you're obligated in the mitzvahs of Eretz Yisrael. So now asks the Gemara, bia dekasev rachman gabi tilnu betachamar. Lamali, why did the Torah have to use the word bia coming by tefillin and betach hamar? These are 2 mitzvahs, asks the Gemara, that apply even outside of Eretz Yisrael. And bia was the qualification of only inside of Eretz Yisrael. Explains the Gemara, we need these for the following brisa that says, Asay mitzvah zu. This is the mitzvah shebishvilan tikanis haaretz, that because of it, tefillin and petach hamar, that is why we are zoichet to come into tikanis, to enter into Eretz Yisrael. So says the Gemara Bish, some of this works 3 lines from the bottom. Man damer Moshe kol makom shata yoish v'mashma, that the word Moshe means both in Eretz Yisrael outside. Hainu dersev, now the pasuk makes sense. V'achlu me'avar haaretz mimachras haPesach, that they ate after Pesach, and from there we can be medayik, we can infer that mimachras haPesach achol, they only ate after Pesach, but meikara prior loy achol. Why not? Alma, we see as we turn over to Lamed Ches and Aleph, the reason that they didn't eat prior to Pesach was because akar v'aymer v'hadar achol. Before Pesach, what was lacking? What was lacking was the bringing of the karban aymer, and therefore they did not eat from the produce. However, asks the Gemara, Lamed Ches and Aleph top line, Ela lemanda amar lacharush v'yeshiva nechol la'alter, according to the Mandarma that says that as soon as they apportioned and settled Eretz Yisrael, they could eat right away. Lo aveitzrichi. It is not necessary. Dichsev u'mnei Yisrael achlus aman arba'im shana. The Klal Yisrael. Excuse me. I just ran through a stop sign. Says the Gemara, Mandarma lechol Yerushav Yeshiva lechol alter. They should have eaten right away. Why do they have to wait until after Pesach? Why do they have to wait till Mimacharos HaPesach? Answers the Gemara, Lo Yavitzrichi. You're right, they were allowed to eat earlier, but they did not need to eat till after Pesach because they had other food. They didn't have to eat the new grains for a different reason. They had leftover man. Tersev, as the pasuk says, "Bnei Yisrael achlu saman arba'im shana ad bayam el eretz leishaves." As aman achlu ad bayam el kseretz Canaan, they ate the man until they came to the edge of Eretz Canaan. Iav sharleimer ad bayam el eretz leishaves. Didn't have to say it until they came to Eretz leishaves. Kvar namar, because the pasuk already said el kseretz Canaan. V'yav sharleimer el kseretz Canaan. The pasuk didn't have to say that. Why should kvar namar ad bayam el eretz leishaves? So why did the pasuk speak out both Eretz Canaan and Eretz Leishaves? HaKetzad B'Shiva v'Adar Meis Moshe. The 7th of Adar Moshe Rabbeinu was nifter. Pasuk Mamilei Reid, and the month stops coming down. V'Yamistabgim Mimansha B'Kleim. They had extra man in their vessels ad until Shisha Asar Ben Nisan, the 16th of Nisan. So the reason why they did not eat until Mimachras HaPesach was not halachically, was not because of the issue of Chadash, that was noyeg, and they couldn't eat until the carbon was brought. No! They just didn't eat practically because they had man left over. And of course, this has to do with the fact that they were outside of Eretz Yisrael, and then we see that Chadash was noyeg outside of Eretz Yisrael. Tanya Idach continues the Gemara, another brayso about the man. 10 lines down, Lamed Ches and Aleph. First one line is Shisha Asar Ben Nisan. Tanya idach b'nei Yisrael achlu saman arba'im shana. And Klal Yisrael ate the man for 40 years. Asks the Gemara, did they eat for 40 years? They didn't really eat for 40 years. They ate for 40 years minus 30 days. So why does it say that they ate for 40 years? Because the man fed them for 40 years. Meaning, the cookies that they took out of Mitzrayim, the ugos, the cakes, were ta'amu behen man. They had the taste of man, and that lasted for 30 days. So the man proper, true, was not 40 years, but they had the man taste for the full 40 years, including the 30 days of the cakes from Mitzrayim. Tani Yidach, another brisa, pretty famous brisa. B'sheva b'adar meis Moshe. Ubesheva be'adar noilad. Moshe Rabbeinu was nifter and born on the same day. Minayin asked the Gemara Sheva Adar Meis. Shenemar says the pasuk V'yam Hashem Moshe Eved Hashem. And there Moshe Rabbeinu was nifter, the servant of Hashem. Uksev in the pasuk says Vayiv Kubnei Yisrael as Moshe B'avers Mayim Shlashim Yayim. They eulogized Moshe Rabbeinu for 30 days. Uksev V'yachrei Moshe was after Moshe died Eved Hashem. Uksev, and the Pesukim continue. Moshe Avdi Meis, Vatakom Avar. Now Moshe Rabbeinu was nifter. Come enter into Eretz Yisrael. Uksev, and when was that? Ivru b'karav ha'machne v'tzivu asa'am. Leimar echenu l'chem seida ki b'oishesh es yamim, prepare for yourself, because in 3 more days, tavru asayardin. So there were the 30 days of eulogizing, then 3 days of preparations, then they entered into Eretz Yisrael. And now when did they enter into Eretz Yisrael? Uksev, and teaches the pasuk va'am alu min hayarden. They ascended from the Yarden be'eser lachodesh harishan, on the 10th of the first month, on the 10th of Nisan. So the 10th of Nisan, they finally enter Eretz Yisrael. So let's work backwards. Same yam shleishin yamim. Detract 33 days, 30 days eulogizing on Moshe, 3 days of preparation, Lamafreya. Holamadata, the 10th of Nisan minus 33 is Shebeshiva b'Adar Meis Moshe. That was the 7th of Adar. That's when he was nifter. Uminayin Shebeshiva b'Adar Noilad. How do we know he was born on the same day? Says the Gemara, Noilad Moshe Shnamar V'Yomer Aleihem Ben Me'av Esrim Shana Ayoim. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm 120 years, Anochi Ayoim today. La Yuchal Oid Latis Lavai, no longer could go. Shein Tamalamer Hayoim. What do you have to say that today he's 120 years? Ma Tamalamer Hayoim. Melami, the Sijah Shekadosh Baruch Hu Yoshev Umamalish and Aseim Shel Sadikim Yoim Liyoim Umechodesh LeChodesh. That Hashem sits and fills up the years of Sadikim from day to day and from month to month. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, is Misbar Yomecha Amalei. I'll fill up your days completely, and that's how we know that the same day he was nifter was a complete day, a complete month, a complete year, and that's how we know that he must have been born as well on the 7th of Adar. And of course, this is where it comes from. We say on Me'av Esrim, as we're seeing from Moshe Rabbeinu, 120 is Yomecha Amalei, complete and full years. Tanya, we learned in a Raisa 4 lines from the white lines. Rashbi Omer says, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, Shloisha mitzvahis. There were 3 mitzvahs. Klal Yisrael were commanded when they entered into Eretz Yisrael. V'nei hagais, and the relevant bein ba'aretz bein l'chutz haaretz. V'huadin shein hagu. And we have a kal v'chomer to teach us the same. What were the 3? We'll see in a moment. Chadash. That's one of them, of course. Sheini surah yisr olam. Chadash is not always aser, as it's only until the 15th, 16th of Nisan until the carbon omer is brought. And Veni Sur Isser Ana, there's no Isser Ana. And V'yesheter Li Isura, once the carbon is brought in the first white line, all the new grain becomes mutter. And yet, even though those are the qualifications, Noyig Bein Ba'aretz, Bein V'chutz Haaretz, it's not inside and outside of Eretz Yisrael. Kalayim, She'Yisur and Israelim Kalayim will always be Aser. And as well, the Yisur and Isser Ana, and they are Aser B'Hana. Vein Yisur and Isser, Vein Hetali Yisur, and they never becomes mutter. Einoi Din, Shein Hagu, is not the Kal V'Chomer that is Noyeg, Bein La'aretz, Ubein L'chutz La'aretz, that's Noyegin outside of Eretz Yisrael. That's what you know they climb as well. V'odin La'ar L'Bishtayim, and Arla is similar in two ways, as Rashi points out that Arla is in Isur Isur Olam. However, it has Isur Hana. There's no Heter Li Isurei. So says the Rashbi, we have three mitzvahs: Kalayim, Arla, and Chadash. We are commanded when we went into Eretz Yisrael, but in Zekal V'Chaim that is no hake everywhere. Rav Elazar, Rav Shimon Aimer says, Rav Elazar, Rav Shimon, and of course, if you're listening, who just spoke in a moment ago, it was Rashbi who's speaking now. Rav Elazar, Rav Shimon, of course, this is the son of Rashbi. Now, whether this is unique or not, I'm not sure, but if you peek at the side, the Gilyon Hashas over here of Kiva Eger, in the Gilyon Hashas points out, if you pligi alavuhi, obviously it's not that many times. Rav Kiva Eger makes mention how here Rav Elazar, Rav Shimon, Rav Elazar, the son of Rashbi, is arguing on his father. And with that, we turn over to Lamachasem Abeis. What is the argument of Rav Elazar, his son? Says Rav Elazar, Kol mitzvah shenitztavu Yisrael koidim k'nisas la'aretz. Any mitzvah that Klal Yisrael was commanded before they went into Eretz Yisrael, those mitzvahs are nahagais, are relevant bein ba'aretz, bein l'chutz aretz. La'achar k'nisas la'aretz, after entering Eretz Yisrael, that which they were commanded, eina nahagis ela ba'aretz. Chutz, except for, and obviously that means that these three mitzvahs which were commanded when they went into Eretz Yisrael, says Rav Elazar, Rav Shimon, are only in Eretz Yisrael. Chutz, except for menashmitas ksafin u'shluach avadim. Two entities that even though 5 lines down on Mechesem Beis, Shafal Pi, even though even though they were commanded about Shemitah's Ksafim, that all loans go back at Shemitah and Shiluach Avadim, still, Nahagis being Varis being L'chutz Aretz. And that's how Rav Elazar, the son of Rav Shimon, argues. And of course, this is in truth the Rav Elazar. This is in truth that, it's not Rav Eliezer. That was Rav Eliezer in the Mishnah. I don't believe it is the same person. Okay, continues the Gemara. Lamachesem Beis. Hashmatas Ksafim. You just told me Hashmatas Ksafim, even though they were commanded when they went into Eretz Yisrael, still it's noyeg. Bein ba'aretz. Bein l'chutz haaretz. Asks the Gemara, Hashmatas Ksavim Chavis HaGofi. We started off today, and we said that when the Mishnah told us there's a difference was between what? Chavis HaGof and Chavis Haaretz. And that which is an obligation on the body is relevant everywhere, and on the land is only Eretz Yisrael. So Hashmatas Ksavim is something on the body, it's your cash. So of course it's noyig everywhere. Answers the Gemara, you know what Rav Elazar needs to teach us? Ella according to the following brisa. Titania says in a brisa, Rabbi Omer zed dvar hashmita shamayit. This is the matter of the shmita when it cancels. B'shtei shmitais hakasov midaber. Says Rabbi, the pasuk is talking about two shmitais. Achas shmitas kargan, v'achas shmitas ksafim. And explains the Rabbi from the fact that the pasuk puts the two of them together, we can learn out Bizman shata mishami karka to mishami ksafim. At a time where there is shemitah on the land, then there is shemitah on the ksafim on the loans as well. Bizman shiata mishami karka, iata mishami ksafim. So according to the shita of Rabbi, says Rav Elazar, we need to have a special limit to teach you that shvatas ksafim is not even in chutz aretz. Says the Gemara, 1 second, Ve'ima, let us suggest, B'makar shata misham mekarka to sham ksafim. B'makar shata misham mekarka to sham ksafim. Maybe it just has to do with the place. That's what you would have thought, excuse me. Talmud Loimar says, Rav Elazar, K'er Shemitah, L'Hashem, Mikol Makam, that's Rav Elazar has to teach us that it applies everywhere, not only in a land of Shemitah, which is Eretz Yisrael, even in Chutz La'aretz. And we continue, Shiluach Avadim. The Gemara has the exact same kasha, smackman of Amid. First line is Shiluach, asks the Gemara, Shiluach Avad, according to Rav Elazar, had a special lima that applies everywhere. Asks the Gemara the same kasha. Chayvis HaGofi, what do you mean? It's an obligation on your body to send out the Avadim. Explains the Gemara, I would have thought, and you should proclaim freedom in the land. You would think it's only in Eretz Yisrael. Tamalei Mar Yoveli Mikol Makom, and it's applicable everywhere. Asks the Gemara if it's applicable everywhere. Imkein Matam Lemer Ba'aretz. So why Lamaisa by Shluach Havadim does it say cross into our Ba'aretz? Explains the Gemara. Bizman Shadar Noig Ba'aretz Noig B'chutz Haaretz. When this din is relevant in Eretz Yisrael, then it's relevant even in Chutz Haaretz. Ein Dar Noig Ba'aretz and Ein Noig B'chutz Haaretz, and that's why the pasuk has say Ba'aretz. We conclude with a Mishnah. Tanan Hasam Chadash Aser Min HaTorah B'chol Ma'akayim. Chadash, this of course with the phrase comes from Chadash Aser Min HaTorah, but here it's referring to the grain, it's always Aser. Arla is halacha is lacha Moshe Sinai, and a Kalayim is a din d'Rabbanan. My halacha, asks the Gemara, what is halacha Moshe Sinai regarding Arla? Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Hilchasa Midina. It means it's a midrabanan that they accepted upon themselves. So we have two ways of learning. And Ula Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel says Hilchasa Midina, that when Arla is halacha, it just means they're abanan. And Ula Amar Rav Yehuda says halacha l'Moshe Sinai. No, it means halacha l'Moshe Sinai. So Amar le Ula le Rav Yehuda who said it's a derabanan asks Ula. It makes sense. But according to you, that it's all derabanan. Why would there be any difference between a safek arla and safek kalayim? Where do we see a difference in safek arla and safek kalayim? It's not safek arla ba'aretz aser, b'surya motor, b'chutz haaretz yared v'lokeach, b'vash l'yirena v'loket. In chutz haaretz you're allowed to pick as long as no one sees you. Do it. That's by safek arla. But by klayim, v'lu gabi klayim tanan hakarim and nutua yerek v'yarek nimgar karen. Hakaren hanatua. Karen hanatua, a vineyard that has been planted yarek with greenery v'yarek, and the yarek is nimkar chutza Allah. Ba'aretz is aser, b'surya is mutter. And here, when it came to the klayim, what does the Mishnah say? It says, it's only that it's plicked with the hands. It didn't say the same differentiation, rather, whether you see and pick. So says Rav Yehuda, says Ula to Rav Yehuda, according to me it makes sense. But El Didach, according to you, and we turn over to Lam Testament Aleph, I apologize, we don't have the daf in front of us. El Didach, Nisti, Oizev Zeyar V'loiket. Oizev Zeyar V'loiket. It should say either Zev Zeyar V'loikeach, excuse me, or Zev Zeyar V'loiket. According to you, there should be no difference. Answers the Gemara, Amrle Shmuel Rav Anantoni, Zev Zeyar V'loikeach, or Zev Zeyar V'loiket. Switch the gears on the Brisa, then everything fits, and there's no kasha of Ula on Rav Yehuda. I'll pick it up from the top of Lam Testament Aleph for the next year. Psiyata Dishmaya.